Hello Art Snackers, welcome to Hot in the Shop. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at a fun and versatile art supply, the acrylic paint marker. Now you know the ArtSnacks Shop has a variety of acrylic paint markers, but specifically we're going to talk about the Montana acrylic paint marker today. This product comes in beautiful colors and I think you're going to like what we come up with. Before we go any further, let me introduce myself. My name is Jenny and I'm a mixed media artist. And when I'm not here playing with the most fun products in the ArtSnacks Shop, you can find me on anartfullylivelife.com. Now let's meet the stars of our show. Enter the Montana acrylic markers. Before you use your markers for the first time, you'll want to shake them up really well to mix up the paint. Then press down on the tip or pump it a few times to get the paint flowing. The colors I'm using in this session are Shock Pink, Shock Blue Light, and Shock Lilac. But you can find more colors in the ArtSnacks Shop. I love this color combination though, and the more I played with them, the more I got an evening sky vibe. So with the help of a few other supplies, I'm going to show you how to make an evening cityscape with a bit of a twist. Let's get out some Fabriano Studio Hot Press watercolor paper for the surface. You can use these acrylic markers on almost any surface, but I find the smoother the better. The minimal texture and the strength of this paper provide a nice base. I really wanted to focus on the sky, so by using a heart shape, I can keep the silhouette of the city to a minimum. I'm using a cookie cutter here just for ease, but there's nothing to say you couldn't freehand any shape you wanted. Let's grab some ArtSnacks washi tape. You know it comes in handy to keep your edges nice and crisp. I'm using that around the border and then trimming it up from the inside with a knife to reveal a heart shape with a clean border to fill in. Now that the prep work is done, let's get to the fun part. Acrylic paint markers are notoriously pesky to blend, and quite often it works better to take a cell shading approach like in comics. But I am looking for a smoother color transition in my sky. This is where the Alvin Heritage Arts rectangular plastic palette, the KINGART Dagger brush, and a little bit of water are going to help out a lot. The palette has plenty of wells and a nice flat surface to handle your mixing. It gives you the opportunity to apply a bit of paint in a well and then add water to dilute. This way you can slow down this fast-drying medium and build up your project in layers. Or you can apply both colors to the flat part of the palette. Get them right up next to each other, then use your damp dagger brush to pick up both colors at the same time. You have to work much quicker for this technique, but the angled shape of the dagger brush helps a lot. The third way to blend is to apply the colors right to your paper and use your finger or a damp brush to blend while the paint is still wet. If you use your finger, there's a definite chance of overworking the paper with this method. My least favorite technique for blending with acrylic markers is to go over one marker with the other while they're both still wet. There are artists who get stunning results by doing this. I'm not thrilled about it because it contaminates the marker tips. You can clean them up by scribbling on a scrap piece of paper, but that can use up a lot of ink. Luckily, the Montana markers have a semi-clear barrel so you can see how much paint you have left. You can also refill them, so that does make for a nice option. Okay, let's get back to the heart of the video. Since I'm looking for a wider gradient and I'm going to put a bit of blue between the pink and the lilac, I'm opting to slowly build up the color, with the most intense color straight from the markers near the top and bottom of the heart. This involves layering and dry time between layers, but I prefer to work this way. Because the paint in the Montana markers has a matte finish, it will dry a little bit lighter. I've got to take a minute and draw your attention to this Itoya ProFolio felt pouch. It has been so helpful to keep all the pens and markers for this project together. Everything fits nicely. There are two bigger compartments so I can keep my Montana markers in one side and the fine tip pens in the other. Plus there's a spot in the middle that I can use for a pencil. It's compact and water resistant, so it's great for grab and go. Now that the base is dry, I'm using a 05 KINGART Inkline black pen to create the shape of the buildings. The ink in this pen glides over the painted surface easily and dries fast. It leaves a crisp, smooth edge. From here on out, I do a little bit of jumping around waiting for areas to dry so I don't smudge them. I decided to put this sitting next to water, so I'm adding some lilac to the very bottom of the heart to reflect the sky. While that's drying, I head back up to the sky to add the moon and some clouds. I'm using a white Uni-Ball Signo gel pen with a broad tip. The ink is opaque and flows pretty smoothly. I do think that the best results come from using a light pressure though. It's much easier to only have to make one pass with this pen. If you do make a mistake and have to go over it again, it's best to wait till all the elements on the paper are dry. I could leave the city skyline as a simple silhouette, but I think it's more interesting to show a bit of life, so let's add some windows. For this, I'm using the Derwent paint pen with a 0.5mm tip in lemon yellow. The paint in this pen is opaque and the tip is small enough that by just adding some uniform dots and dashes, we get the idea that the city has not gone to bed yet. Once all the windows are in, I can go back and finish putting stars in the sky. Lastly, let's give some attention to the water in the foreground. I'm basically just going back and forth making horizontal lines with the lilac, black, and white pens. And because I have it on hand, I throw in a few dashes of another Derwent paint pen in mint green. It's always a bit nerve-wracking when it comes time to peel the tape from the border, but this ArtSnacks Washi has been reliable for me so far. If you do have any wonky edges, the white Uni-Ball gel pen works perfectly to clean those up. I really enjoyed playing around with the Montana acrylic paint markers. One of the things that I really like is that the Montana markers have a matte finish. But if you look, some of the other products have a more semi-gloss, and I love the contrast of those two finishes. I do have a couple of the other colors that the ArtSnacks Shop sells in the Montana acrylic markers. The royal red and the shot green, they just didn't happen to make it into this project, but they are gorgeous, and you can see that I did a lot of swatching with all of the products, and they really had some great results. You can even see possibilities working in for some abstract work. And mixing the colors is so much fun. That blue goes with just about everything. It mixes with the green beautifully, mixes with the lilac beautifully. I know we think of acrylic markers as just using them straight out of the marker itself, but when you open up the possibilities and use a brush and palette, you can get some beautiful results. I hope you've enjoyed this video. All the supplies I've used today can be found in a link in the description box below. And to get 15% off these select products, just use coupon code HOT15 at checkout. While you're here, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe for more videos, join us for free over on Mix, and follow ArtSnacks on social media.